Hey everybody, Everyman Prepping here, and we're going to get into all these new attacks or supposed attacks you see on some infrastructure happening. We're going to go look at a few of them, discuss, are they just accidents, are they really attacks, and all that. And before we get to that though, I want to talk about the U.S. retaliation on Iran. Nothing's happened yet. It is Wednesday afternoon. It's about 10 p.m. over there in the Middle East, in that time zone over there, and if attacks are going to come, they would happen pretty soon. They usually come at night, so we'll see in the next few hours if anything happens. But we can look really quickly and see what the newest story is. It says here the Islamic resistance in Iraq is to blame for the, now they see the Jordan strike. How about just the strike on U.S. service people at Tower 22 that happened to be on the Jordan-Syrian border? The Jordan drone strike is weird. I don't know why they don't put Iranian back strike, but they're already calling the Jordan drone strike, kind of distancing themselves right there. Same administrations, a lot of talk yesterday was, oh, we don't want war. We don't want to escalate this. We kind of let us attack you and so we can save face. But that's the word going out. Anyway, this says the United States on Wednesday, it's today, attributed the drone attack that killed 3 service members, wounded up to 40 in Jordan. They attributed it to the Islamic resistance in Iraq. They're not saying the Republican Guard. They're not saying Iran specifically. They're calling it the Islamic resistance in Iraq. So they're not even calling it Iran right now. It says it's an umbrella group of the Iranian-backed militia, but see how they're putting some distance there? I think the United States might be a little concerned. I don't know if I can go to and say afraid of the Iranian response if they blame it on them, but looks like they're walking back their tough talk already. It says, the attribution comes after Iran threatened on Wednesday to decisively respond to any U.S. attack on the Islamic Republic after the U.S. said it holds Tehran responsible. So I don't know if the Islamic Republic is the same as the Islamic resistance in Iraq. I don't think so. It could be just a name difference, but you can kind of see the U.S. is stepping back from blaming Iran. I don't know if it's their attempt not to escalate or their actually fear of what Iran will do in response. So we shall see. Like I said, it's nighttime over there. If anything happens, it'll happen soon. Moving on from there, we're going to get into this. So we're going to talk about the layoffs. So back in August of last year, UPS is all excited. Highest, biggest contract the union's ever gotten. Drivers are loaded with cash. They're paying everybody tons of money. Well, as soon as that happened, it was August 23rd of last year. When that happened, I came out in a video and said, it's great for the union and all, but they're going to have to fire people. They're going to have to lay people off soon. They're not going to be able to pay for all this money they're giving everybody. It's just not going to work out. We're headed towards a recession. Things are slowing down. And what do you know? Yesterday, UPS comes out, 12,000 people laid off. Not a gigantic proportion, but I think there'll be more. Who else got a giant contract right after that? The UAW, United Auto Workers. They got huge contracts from Ford, GM, and whatnot. Well, I expect them to have layoffs soon too. These huge contracts that they celebrate, the union bosses and the leads, they get paid lots of money, but the union members are the ones they pay for it because they're just going to lay people off to make up that money. Because they're not going to make less money, these corporations. They're going to make more money. And if they have to get rid of people and make other ones do their jobs, that's what they're going to do. If you can see from this list here, though, PayPal also came out and said, I think they're getting rid of 9 or 10% of their workforce. And this list has the last 3 months. You got Twitch at 35%, Hasbro 20%, Spotify, Levi, Xerox 15%, Wayfair, Duolingo, Washington Post, eBay 9%. Keep going on down. Even the bankers. We got Charles Schwab 6%, BlackRock 3%, Citigroup 20,000 employees. So you can see plenty of layoffs. Lots of layoffs. Does that mean the economy is doing great? No. The Fed came out today and said we're holding rates steady, which everybody expected. They're all looking forward to March when they expect a rate cut because, well, we got tons of layoffs, right? And that'll just basically turn the money printer on. So we'll see how that goes. We'll keep eye on that. But let's go to the main subject we came here to talk about, and that's the infrastructure. We're seeing attacks on, we got the Texas chicken farm, and we'll see in a minute, Oklahoma gas pipeline. We're getting some other, attacks into water system, energy systems. Is this really a thing, or are we just more of a heightened sensitivity to this? Kind of like the airplane, they had the Alaska Airlines door blow off, then another airplane's tire fell off, and then some other problems. Is this just a heightened sensitivity now? Was it always happening, or more? These infrastructure ones, like this chicken farm, we never heard about them before, but now we are. So I got the feeling there's more of them happening, and they seem to be larger than before. So what we see here is, a giant fire at this farm here. So it happened Monday night at the Feathercrest Farms in Bryan, Texas. They say they put 20,000, let me see, I have a better picture here. This is a pretty good picture. This was on the thumbnail, but a huge fire. And each one of these rows here, I was reading somewhere around 20,000 or more chickens per each one of these, I don't know, big long barns. I don't know if you want to call them barns or giant coops, whatever you want to call them. But, you know, there's probably hundreds of thousands of chickens in this area. And, you know, it was an egg producing chicken plant. And, you know, we have another nighttime photo here, you know, getting into dusk. You know, they already lost 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4. I don't know. So, you know, that's going to be hard to recover from. Losing a lot of chickens. You got to start over. Yeah, that's going to impact the food supply. And there's other attacks. So was this an accident? Was it sabotage? I don't know if we'll ever know. But we got to keep our, you know, eyes and ears open for this kind of thing to see, you know, what's really going on here with this. And then as we, you know, look at these attacks as they go on, we also had this one in Oklahoma where you see there was a, you know, gigantic, let's see if we can play this a little bit here. We'll turn the sound off. This is a, you know, gigantic, you know, gas pipe that, you know, caught on fire. I don't know if it exploded, broke, who knows, you know. It says here the cause of the fire and explosion remain unclear. The investigation is underway. Well, you know, could this be another sabotage or something, or just an accident? We'll see. Usually these things come in waves. When we had the electrical substations getting attacked, we had more chicken farms getting burned, it was waves. So let's see if more happens. I'll keep my ear to the ground and see what I can find out. You guys can also write in the comments if you hear anything. And while you're doing that, while you're writing in the comments, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff, ring that bell. Everything helps the channel grow, and that's what we're trying to do here is get the word out to as many people as we can. So that's the infrastructure things. We'll see if it gets worse or not. You know, coming with all, you know, Hezbollah's threatened it, Iran's threatened to do stuff on the U.S. homeland because of attacks. So, you know, we might see stuff pick up. And we always know we have that unguarded border on the south there in the United States, and plenty of people coming across that might be, you know, encouraged to do stuff like this. And that kind of rolls into what the FBI director is warning right now. Chinese hackers are determined to wreak havoc on U.S. critical infrastructure. So not only is it food, you know, chickens, and then we got energy, the oil, but now we have hackers coming in. Let's see what he had to say today. So the Chinese government hackers are busily targeting water treatment plants, the electrical grid, transportation systems, and other critical infrastructure inside the United States. And that's what, Chris Wray, the FBI director, told lawmakers today, that that's what the Chinese are focusing on doing. And then this is on the heels of the Justice Department and the FBI announcing just before this that they just disrupted what they call the botnet of hundreds of U.S.-based small and home routers. You know, that little router you have in your house that, you know, puts the Wi-Fi signal out and splits the signal, all that. So owned by private citizens and companies, they were hijacked by what they say Chinese state actors to cover their tracks and to hide the origin of this malware they're selling. So they say they stopped it. Who knows if they really did or not? What's going on? We should see. But he goes on to say, the cyber threats and attacks affect every American. Kind of sounding like that movie, Leave the World Behind, kind of getting to that thing with all these hacks. And basically, you know, the FBI is coming out saying, it's going to happen. This is another quote. Chinese hackers are positioning on American infrastructure in preparation to wreak havoc and cause real-world harm to American citizens and communities, if or when China decides the time has come to strike. So, basically an FBI warning saying it's going to happen. They're set it up. They're already there. They're prepared. And when they're ready to pull the trigger, they're going to do it. And they're going to cause real-world harm to Americans. You know, leave the world behind scenario. So there you go. So that came out from the FBI just today, which will, you know, lead on to more infrastructure damage and attacks. So we always got to keep our head on a swivel for that. Coming on from there, we see more of the Chinese news. Is that the Chinese are putting some frigates and destroyers in what they consider, the red line here is the Chinese, what they consider their economic zone. It says these are the area where the Chinese vessels have been continually deployed in recent years, and this is their self-claimed air defense identification zone. And then you have Japan's, which is the blue line, air defense identification zone. And as you can, and these islands here, the Senkaku Islands, they're Japanese islands. But as you can see, China claims this territory, and Japan says this is their ADIZ. So they intersect, and right here. So that just gives an area where the Chinese says it's theirs, Japanese says it's theirs. So it gives you an area for conflict. China again poking more around, probing, seeing, you know, what the reaction is, because, well, as you can see, Taiwan's down here. And they're going to need to blockade off Japan's response, because Japan will come to help Taiwan most likely. So they need to intersect that. So that's what I think these ships are doing up here. And it's just another preparation for the taking of taking of Taiwan. So that's what I think is going on with that. What else do I have here? This is the last thing. Just a quick video for you guys today. For homework. This is the homework assignment for you guys. I want you to check out the. This is the Senate bill here, 3589, Preventing Private Paramilitary Activity Act of 2024. So this act, sponsored by Senate Markley Edward, Democrat, of course, from, Maine, I think. So, Maine, Massachusetts. Should know that, whatever MA is. Anyway, they're preventing the Private Military Act. So this is saying, well, you can't have a militia, you can't meet in groups, armed groups, you can't train. They wanted to, outlaw this kind of activity. Why do they want to outlaw this activity? Something coming. They think there's going to be a need for this. They already see what's happening down there in Texas. So go ahead and, as homework, check out this bill. It's proposed right now. It's not voted on or anything, but it's going to go through committees and all that. But, it's a precursor to what might happen. Got to keep our eyes on this type of stuff, because, that whole First, Second Amendment thing, they're trying to get, trying to chip away at it as much as they can. And this is the next step they want to do, is try to, you guys can't really form militias anymore. You can't meet as groups. You can't train. You can't practice with your self-defense tools. So if they're, if the government's telling that, maybe that's what you need to do. So take that into consideration. And one last thing, I put a little post in my community section yesterday and on X that I increased my chicken flock. Got an additional 5 hens added to it. They're separating right now for about a week. Then I'll mix them together. But I'm growing the flock because, everything we just talked about. Iran, Middle East, Israel, Ukraine, China, infrastructure, eggs catching on fire. Got to get your own chickens. They're like magical creatures. I love chickens. They're easy, super easy to take care of. They give you eggs. They give you fertilizer. If you need to, you can eat them. They're great garbage disposal. They eat insects. You can reproduce them really easily, especially if you have a broody hen. But if not, you can get a little incubator. Very easy to do. So if you can get chickens, please get chickens. You won't regret it at all. They're great to have. Like I said, I love chickens. I highly encourage, if you can, get as many chickens as you can, especially with what we know is coming along. That's all I have for you today. Hopefully you got something out of this. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.